Please to the stage.
Thank you, Toastmaster, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Over the last number of years, I've been researching into the subject of evolution, and tonight I'd like to share some of my findings. In my hand, I have a book entitled Why Evolution is True, and it was written by Jerry Coyne, who is a professor at the Chicago University and has been for the last 20 years employed in the Department of Ecology and Evolution. The book is about the theory of evolution, which is the assertion that all life forms we see today have descended from a common ancestor 3.5 billion years ago. The book has been endorsed by Richard Dawkins, who's one of the leading, most prolific proponents of evolution for the past 20 years. And at the front, he writes the following about this book. He says, "I once wrote that anybody who didn't believe in evolution must be stupid, insane or ignorant. And I was then careful to add that ignorance is no crime. I should now update my statement. Anybody who doesn't believe in evolution is stupid, insane, or hasn't read Jerry Coyne, this book." So let's now have a look at what Jerry Coyne has to say about the subject. I'll go to page 17. Here he states, "We can say then that evolution was a theory when first proposed by Darwin, and since 1859 has graduated to facthood. As more and more supporting evidence has piled up, evolution is still called a theory, but just like the theory of gravity, it's a theory, but it's also a fact." He claims it's a fact. He goes on page 16. "Because a theory is accepted as true only when its assertions and predictions are tested over and over again and confirmed repeatedly, there is no one moment when a scientific theory suddenly becomes a scientific fact. A theory becomes a fact when so much evidence has accumulated in its favour and there is no decisive evidence against it that virtually all reasonable people will accept it." Sorry, Mr. Coyne, I'm sorry. But the National Centre for Scientific Education has a less vague scientific definition for what is a scientific fact. And by doing so, it eliminates the need for any belief or interpretation. And that definition is: a scientific fact is an observation that has been repeatedly confirmed, repeatedly seen. That is what it defines as a scientific fact. In science, an observation refers to receiving knowledge through our 5 senses or through scientific instruments and tools. That's what establishes a scientific fact. Sorry, Mr. Coyne, I do not believe you. I do not believe that evolution, as you've defined, is a scientific fact. And the reason for that is because it has never been observed. Now, there are three major assertions that have never been observed. The first one is the common ancestor has never been observed. The second one is the large claimed changes have never been observed. Thirdly, the major mechanism said responsible for those large-scale changes, random mutation and natural selection, has never been observed to make those changes. So what have evolutionists observed? Well, one thing they've observed is fossils, is bones. I agree. That means, so what does that mean? That means the fossils and the bones are a scientific fact. That's what it means. However, evolutionists interpret or believe that the similarity in design means that we've all descended from a common ancestor. Well, there's also people who believe in intelligent design. They observe the same facts and they interpret or believe that the similarity of design is due to a common designer. So you have two beliefs, one in the common ancestor, one in a common designer. The point is that the interpretation of facts or belief is not science. It's not science. Whereas repeated observation eliminates the need for interpretation and belief. So, sorry Mr. Coyne, you've never observed the common ancestor, you've never observed the changes you claim, and you've never observed any mechanism making those claimed changes. Therefore, at this stage of my investigation, I see evolution as a belief, not a fact.